Hey there, Louise. Thanks so much for hopping on. Can you tell us a little bit about Uncharted Wines and how it all started?
So Uncharted Wines, we're a wine merchant, which is a rather grand title, but it means that we import wine from all over the world and we sell it on. And our main customers are restaurants and bars and hotels in London and beyond. So we're a national company. It was myself and my business partner, Rupert. We worked for another wine merchant, and Rupert was brought in to do wine on tap. And the other wine merchant liked it at first, didn't like it after that. And I thought it was the most exciting thing that I'd seen in the wine industry since I began working in it. So Rupert and I took it away and started Uncharted Wines to do it ourselves.
Amazing. And so how did you actually end up getting your first customers when you started out? I think that's usually, for most people, and possibly one of the scariest things starting out. What was your process in getting set up in you guys, and how did that first customer end up coming up?
So Rupert and I have both got a lot of experience in the wine business, working for other companies. Rupert in sales and in research and development, and myself in logistics and operations. So it was a good team to start off. So I knew how to set up the technical side of it, getting a warehouse, dealing with shippers, getting the first wines in. That's all very smooth. Obviously setting up the company, finding some investment, which we did through people we knew. And Rupert already had a huge book of customers. I think you find in most businesses, people buy off people rather than the company. I don't know, there's a mix, but with Rupert, he very much has a following. And because we'd already tried wine on tap at our previous employers, I mean, they didn't want to carry on. So we had ready-built customers.
I see. So some of the customers that you'd spoken to from the previous wine merchant then?
They came with us.
Came following you.
They came over.
Actually, you know what? We're going to back this and we're going to see it through to the end.
Yeah.
Incredible. How many team members do you have at the moment? And what were the first few hires? So at the beginning, I'm guessing it's just you and Rupert. How did it then grow out, and what were the first hires, and how many people do you have now?
We currently have 6 people. It's a great team. We brought our first salesperson in, which was Gus, and we actually worked from a WeWork, just hot desky.
Yes.
So, we didn't have anything at all. And what is quite an interesting journey is that Gus left us after a couple of years. We had lockdown and all about that. He went off and tried other things, and he's recently rejoined the company, and he can't believe the difference, which is a lovely thing. I mean, he's changed a lot and we've changed a lot, and it's really great. It's almost like a really good benchmark, his reaction to coming back and seeing how much we developed and changed.
What were some of the things? Can I dig into that a little? What some of the things that he noticed had changed?
Well, first of all, we have our own desks and chairs. And we have a space like this, where this space we're in at the moment is our kind of workshop to work on things. We also, now we have over here, you'll see we have a set of wine taps, and all the sales team can pull off samples from the kegs behind me in little recyclable pouches and take them to customers. We didn't have that before. So we used to go around and nick wine from customers in little bottles and take it. It was all very labour intensive, and now it's all very slick.
Amazing. And speaking of the kegs, I think this is definitely something that, I don't know why it never occurred to me. You get beer in kegs, but wine in kegs. Can you talk to us a bit sort of about the design of the keg? I know you were showing us around your workshop, and we'll show footage of that. How have you structured the design of the kegs, and I guess why do restaurants and your customers really enjoy?
So we don't design the kegs. We buy the kegs from a third party, and these particular kegs are called key kegs, and they are used in the craft beer industry a lot. They have an inner bag which is completely food safe, and with the wine on tap setup, you pump oxygen into between the harder shell and the bag, and that squeezes the bag, so it squeezes the wine out. And because of the top of the keg, it's completely sealed until the wine goes out. And then when the wine stops pumping, it reseals. So it's completely safe. So you can have a keg open for months and months and months and months without it spoiling the wine.
I see. So it never oxidizes.
It never oxidizes, no. Yeah.
And what was the thought process in, I mean, it's always been bottles. What was the sort of onus? Was it just something that you wanted to try out? Was there a specific reason why you wanted to start putting wine into kegs?
I mean, that's a question for Rupert, really. I can just probably summarize how I've heard him talk. He is convinced, and I've become convinced, that it is the best way to serve wine because it is so inert. So a bottle normally has either a screw cap or a cork, and both allow a tiny amount of oxygen, cork more so, into the wine. So what we found is that we send these empty kegs to the winemakers themselves. They fill them. They're happy with that wine. They use less sulfur on the wine to protect it because it's such a protective packaging. So when our winemakers come over here and we take them to a restaurant or bar that serves their wine, they're always amazed. They're like, this is just like it's left the winery. It's so pure. It's like they're so happy with it. Whereas what bottles can get hot, they can, the wine can deteriorate. They don't have any control. So that was the initial impetus, was actually, we truly believe this is a brilliant way to serve wine in restaurants. And then what came about was actually it's quite sustainable as well, which is a bonus to us. We don't promote ourselves as being a sustainable company because we don't have the statistic to back it up. But anecdotally, we can say that there's a lot less carbon used in shipping these over because they're so much lighter. The recycling glass is notoriously difficult and has become so. Yes, it really has become.
Now that glass is the easiest one, and then plastics usually.
Yeah, it's not. Bottles are really hard to recycle. And so what we do is we have a company that's primarily based in London, but it has a few outposts in Birmingham, Manchester and Bristol. And like a restaurant would buy a box to put their bottles in and pay for those bottles to be recycled. The company sells stickers, and when the keg is empty, the customer just puts a sticker on. When they've got 10, they're collected and then they're bulked down and they're sent back to the manufacturer, who actually reuses. I think you can see here it says 100% recyclable, 30% circular use material. So the black parts are made out of recycled material from the kegs themselves.
So it's like a nice little closed loop system, and it's continuously going.
Sure. It can be better, and we're striving for it to be better, but it's where we're at the moment, and it's massively improved from when we started.
Amazing. And so obviously, you mentioned previously that you started in a WeWork and then you transitioned. Now you're here in Containable. Can you talk about sort of how that came about? How did you first hear about Containable, first of all? And how was the process of actually moving in and getting set up? And what was the desire?
With WeWork, we knew we'd outgrown it. We needed our own office space and a space where we could store bits of kit as well. So, and office space within a WeWork was very expensive. The hot desking, super cheap, but the office space, super expensive. One of our restaurant customers actually had a container here where they had a cocktail lab and they were mixing cocktails, and they recommended us to Containerville, and that's where we started.
So you've actually got 3 units here.
We do.
How did those units grow out? Which one did you decide to get on first? Because you've got a lovely office, which we'll roll the footage of as well. What did you get, the office first, or was it the storage unit that you needed more? Which ones came first? Yeah.
So we've always been very lean, and this was the first one. So as you can see, it's now chock-a-block full of kegs and then there's bottles. And we used to have desks in here, and we sort of actually just had no space. So we took the office upstairs, and then finally, just very recently, we've taken the third space, which we're going to make into a tasting room for our customers.
No, I've seen it. It's amazing. Yeah, it's a great space. And how has this sort of space allowed you to kind of expand your business, or how has it benefited your business?
It's very interesting. When we bring customers here, it's very much a statement of who we are. So you either love it or hate it. Most people who walk through the doors and they see all the lights strung up between the containers and they see the big gas towers behind go, oh, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
A few just go, this is different. So, we're very open about who we are. We spend our money on this stuff. We keep it extremely lean. But having the third container, we really need a space where we can bring our customers and they can taste comfortably. And that third container will allow us to do that, and so expand our customer base.
Amazing. What was the process of actually moving in? Did you, how did you find that initially?
Very easy. I mean, these are blank canvases, and you can do with them as you will. A good story is that during the lockdown, we actually converted this space. We got a small grant from Tower Hamlets, put some shelving in. We also import bottles as well, I should say. And we built a website and we did a click and collect shop from here. So very versatile.
Incredible. Yeah, very nice. So you can just change it at will whenever it needs to be.
Yeah.
What would you say? So clearly, you've managed to grow an incredible amount, enough to impress your previous employee by the looks of things. What do you think were some of the factors that, allowed you guys to grow in that sort of way?
I think it's a very unique offer. We were really clear at the start that the wine that we're putting in these isn't cheap wine. So it's a quality offer, because we liken it to the screw cap phenomena. It would have been very easy to bring screw cap into this country and everyone go, oh, it's cheap, it's horrible, we only like corks. But what was very clever is the first screw cap was an expensive New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc that everyone loved. So everyone just went, oh, actually, screw cap's really great. And it's very successful in the UK. In Italy, they hate it because they just put the cheap wines in screw cap. So we sort of learned from that, and we only put good wine. And it's not cheap, nasty. Like, we don't do pub chains. We don't do anything like that. We do top quality restaurants. We follow the kind of craft beer crowd.
I see. Yeah, so it's that sort of audience.
Exactly.
But the wine.
Exactly. Yeah. So people who are interested in what they're drinking, that's what we do. So we think we've set the bar for wine in key keg to be a quality proposition. And no other wine merchants are doing it, which is inevitable.
Yeah, we're always going to get competition.
Absolutely. But actually, we've got a big chunk of the market, because we currently have 95 different wines available, which is a lot more than our competitors at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our competitors will go for the cheaper end as well. They'll go for volume, whereas we've gone for quality rather than volume.
And was that the vision from the start?
Yes. Yes, it was. Absolutely. So I think that has absolutely given us, we're very clear about what we do and what we offer.
Yeah.
I also think the sustainability trend, the trend for a greener thing, has served us so well.
Right.
That wasn't what we set out to do. Both Rupert and I are absolute eco warriors, always have been.
Yeah.
But we didn't think it would be so important. And now our customers are actually coming to us going, we think this is a really good sustainable option. For example, if a customer has 3 white wines on tap, they can take one of their wine fridges out.
Nice.
And fridges are on 24/7, whereas, the equipment used for the wine on tap just kicks in when you need it.
Yeah.
So
the bottle.
The wastage is just incredible. Because of the way the air squeezes the bag, every single last drop goes out.
So it's not like when you have those spray bottles or cleaning fluid, and then you're like, you have this tiny amount left in, but you can't get the last.
So frustrating. Yeah. Every drop comes out. Every glass is fresh. Whereas if you open a bottle, it will last 2 days maximum. That's why most people charge a lot of money for wine by the glass. So we might sell a bottle to somebody for £9, and then they usually benchmark it and go, wine by the glass is £9.
Right.
Whereas with this, they don't need to. They can actually do it at a decent margin, but they don't need to charge as much.
Incredible. So it's a win-win for everyone. Yeah, lovely. And so what were some of the lessons that you learned as you were growing? You've started with just one salesperson. You've now got 6. What have been in your head, doesn't have to be all of them, but the top 1 or 2 things in your mind that you've learned that you think other people watching this, starting smaller businesses, trying to grow, could really learn from?
What's really hard is because one of these kegs, the smaller ones that hold 26 bottles, the bigger one, 40 bottles, stock control is quite difficult to gauge. So we went long on some stock lines, and we ended up sitting on the stock for a while, which obviously ties up your cash flow.
Yeah.
So I think very carefully about what you're ordering and when you order it. We're still learning that.
I see.
That's a big thing. Another thing that we've learned is that we, unlike a lot of the wine trade, we actually ask our customers to go on direct debit, which is very rare in the wine trade, but our customers have been very good. And so we don't have we have very little bad debt. That's something we learned that was really important.
I think most of your customers are restaurant.
They are, yes.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So our private clients order through our website and they pay up front.
So you have a bit of both models. You have the direct to consumer and you have a little bit of restaurants as well. So
it's mainly restaurant, and the direct to consumer is since lockdown. It's a nice little added bonus.
Okay, that's very nice. Yeah, that's amazing. And I often hear a lot of small business owners, there's a couple of resources that they use that help them out a lot. Did you have any sort of resource like podcasts or books or anything that you read, or has it just been learning on the job as you go, taking your previous experience with you?
I think Rupert will agree that it's been a massive learning curve for us both as directors of a company. Thank goodness we've got all the technical experience, but learning how to run a company has been a huge learning curve. And also, we were really clear at the start that we wanted to be a very ethical company in terms of, sustainability, obviously, but equality and fairness. And hopefully, though, that ethos runs through what we do. I mean, I'm not saying we're a soft touch. People don't pay, we'll go after you. But I think we try and be very, very fair in terms of like price lists. We have 3 price lists and that's it. So you've got your wholesale, we have the restaurant price list and we have the private client price list. And that's it. And we don't negotiate. Yeah. Everybody knows that they get the same price as their competitors.
Did you ever try negotiating in the past, or was that something that you just instinctually knew to do from the beginning? Because I know.
Knew to do from the start because of our past experience in other wine merchants where you've got multiple price lists for so many different customers and they're always going, oh, we're on this special price and you've charged us this and you have to do credits and it's just a nightmare. So it goes back to us being really, really lean.
Right.
Keep it really simple.
I see.
Because it's so easy to overcomplicate. And as soon as you overcomplicate, you lose your core values.
And I guess on a final note, what is your favorite wine? You got 95 of these here.
Okay, today, my favorite wine is a wine we've just imported from Spain. It's not available in keg as yet. Often what happens is we start importing in bottle and then we persuade the producers to put them in keg. But it's an absolutely beautiful white wine from the sherry region of Spain. So it's really interesting, really lovely wine. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I hear on 4th of July, is it sometime this year? You're putting out some wine for the rest of Containerville.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we'll see that soon.
Absolutely. It will be pouring for the party.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Johnny. Cheers.